Okay, so here you have the 10 tribes over here in the Syrian captivity, correct?
Gone. Yep.
Now over here you have the Euphrates River, and you also have the Tigris River, and the Euphrates and the Tigris, they both empty right into the Persian Gulf here.
Yep.
The Persian Gulf is over here. Now all you have to do is just Google a world map and you can see all of this evidence, alright?
Right.
Now the Euphrates, when they came out of Assyrian captivity, they came down the Euphrates River. Matter of fact, let's go back and read 2nd Ezra 13 again.
Okay, 2nd Ezra 13 and 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
Right, the multitude of the heathen, which that being Assyrians, was right here, right in the Assyrian land. And the Assyrian land, they had major cities, just like America today.
Right.
They had Nineveh.
Yep. Calneh, I think it was one.
Yeah, Calneh is another one. So the same way the Lord destroyed those cities,
yep,
is the same way He's going to destroy America.
That's right.
You don't even hear about those cities no more.
No.
And at one time, if you're talking about 724 BC, at one time those cities were colossal. They were great.
Yep.
And the kings that rule over them, Shalmaneser, Tiglath-Pileser,
yep,
Ashurbanipal.
Yep.
We always laugh when we say that name, Ashurbanipal. But those men, man, when they were ruling back then, that wasn't a laughing matter. Those guys were terrible, especially on the nation of Israel. But you don't even hear about them no more. You know why? The Most High destroyed them. You know, it's the same thing that's going to happen with America. You ain't going to hear about New York no more. You ain't going to hear about LA no more.
Right.
Or Miami.
It's going to be a thing of the past.
It's going to be just like it was back here in 724 BC. Alright, so read on.
It says, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen,
right,
and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Right, and that's what happened. They came down this Euphrates River, came right into the Persian Gulf, and caught the current. As you can see, as this map illustrates, let me get a zoom in on this. There we go.
Yep.
Here's the Indian Ocean here, right?
You come right out of there, it goes right into the...
Deposits right into it, like you just said. Deposits right into it. The Tigris River, the Euphrates River, deposits right into the Persian Gulf. And right into the Indian Ocean.
Yep.
And lo and behold, look at that.
That's where they caught the current.
They caught the current. Now, we just read in Wikipedia how important it was to know the knowledge of ocean currents, right?
Yep.
So they came around... They caught the current and they came around Africa. There's Africa right here, as this map illustrates, and they came right up to the so-called New World. Now, let's finish read 2nd Ezra, then we can go to what you have written in the, unless you have something you want to bring out.
Alright, yeah, I was just trying to find the scripture, so if I find it, I'll bring it out.
Okay, good.
Alright. At the same time.
Alright,
this is, it says, and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Verse 42.
Right, that further country is talking about over here. North America and South America. And islands in between. That's the further country. Not over no goddamn Bering Strait. Here's the Bering Strait over here. The so-called white man, the devil, will tell you that the tribe of Gad came over the Bering Strait and came down from... This is nothing but barren wasteland up here. Nothing but solid ice.
You know how cold it gets up there?
Hell yeah.
Up in Alaska, they said there's this one place where they got a study, one of them, you know, them labs up there. They said that to go from one point to another, they got to go through this thing, this tunnel they built, and it says that you have to cover your face and everything because it gets up to about 50 degrees below zero, that if you take a breath in at them temperatures, your whole insides freeze up.
Look at that.
But then, but they came over and people buy that shit.
And people buy that shit. Now, you know what? It's impossible for a ship to sail over here. This is pure ice.
Yeah.
All right. You would be sailing through a sea of ice. All right. So you get that nonsense out of your head. This is what happened. They caught the ocean current. They came around Africa and came to the tribe of Gad, being the so-called North American Indians. That's how they got over here. They came around Africa, sailed around the Persian Gulf here, sailed a little bit around the Horn, when they caught the Indian Ocean, they came down here, as the map illustrates, and came up to the so-called New World. All right. Now, did you find what you was looking for?
No, no. You want me to keep reading here, or just
just finish it off, and then let's go to the promise. The excerpt you got.
Verse 43. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
Right, and that's exactly what we said. The Euphrates would be here.
Yep.
And the Euphrates deposits right into the Persian Gulf. And the Persian Gulf deposits right into the Indian Ocean. Alright?
Yep.
Just like the scripture says. Go on.
For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Yeah, because around here, the Horn of Africa, and I've read it on a website, there's a lot of storms that take place around here. Right around the Horn here. Matter of fact, there's a lot of land erosion here due to those storms. And you can Google storms around the Horn of Africa and find out that information. Okay, so that's what the storms is talking about over here. So again, that's true to what the scriptures are saying.
Yeah. For through that country there was a great way to go.
Right, there was a great way to go. When they left Assyria here, came down the Euphrates here, hit the Persian Gulf here, and then the Indian Ocean, all that from here to here, all around down here, all up here, that took them about what?
It says namely of a year and a half.
It took them a year and a half to come all the way from here, go down here, and reach over here. Took them a year and a half. Go on.
And the same region is called Arsareth.
Right, and this is the region that was called Arsareth. Now is a good time to go into, that leads into the excerpt you have from, you can name the book.
This is from Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. This is chapter 6, Enter Columbus. And on page...
yeah, that devil Columbus.
Right.
And after we read that, I'm read a little excerpt from Columbus to show you he was nothing but the devil. He was hired by, by the Jesuits. He was a Jesuit. And what was the main objective of the Jesuits? To destroy the validity of the Bible.
That's right.
That's why you had something called the Bible Destruction Group. Alright?
That's right.
That's why then, because of that, that's what produced gigantic fools like KOC today.
Yep.
And his minions.
And yeah, the rest of them flunkies.
And the rest of them other band of comatose coons. Alright, go on.
This is page 77. It says a striking element in Columbus's geographical religiosity is his intense. I'm sorry. It says a striking element in Columbus's geographical religiosity is his intense and abiding interest in the 4th or 2nd book of Esdras.
Right, in what his interest in what we're reading. Now, in the movie 1492, the actor Gerard Depardieu played Columbus, and there's a scene where he mentions the book of Esdras, and I have the scene and I'll show it to you.
Why did you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only 2 ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a 3rd way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Maradotti, Ezra. The calculations of Toscanelli, Maradotti, Ezra.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
So if Esdras wasn't an individual that existed, if that's all fantasy, why would the director of that movie, which I believe his name was Ridley Scott, which also directed Gladiator. Why would he use that in his movie? And what have we been saying about these directors?
That they know the Bible.
They know the Bible, man. All right? They know the Bible. They got a good working knowledge of the Bible. Unlike those assholes, which I won't even mention. Go on.
All right, this is back at Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. It says the 2 apocryphal books of Ezra purport to be additions written by and about the Old Testament Ezra. And here goes the biblical destruction group at work here. But the 2nd or 4th book is a piece of full-fledged Hellenistic apocalyptic writing that was often regarded with suspicion by the church and just as often embraced by the heterodox Augustine heterodox. Augustine had given guarded approval to Ezra's prophetic claims, and much was always to be made of this by later defenders, including Columbus. Now, really, they were saying it because they're saying it was a Hellenistic writing, Hellenistic apocrypha. Because when the Bible was translated into the Greek, they're saying that it doesn't have validity. Some people say it doesn't have validity because they can't find it in the Hebrew. But you got to remember, some of them letters that Paul wrote, they were written in Greek. They weren't even written in Hebrew. They were later translated into Hebrew, but some of them letters that Paul wrote were written in Hebrew.
That's right.
I mean, I'm sorry, in Greek.
Right.
So you mean to tell me that means that Paul's writings are not valid because they can't find any records of them being written in the Hebrew? That's just another way of the so-called white man trying to destroy the validity of the Bible.
Right, which was the main objective of that group. And by the way, that group was financed by the international bankers, namely the Rothschilds. Because when that group came on the scene, you had the Rothschilds in power. Because the Rothschilds, they know the truth. They know that the Bible condemns